Curtis was just 16 when she was seduced by her married teacher, Chris Dawson. Months later, his wife Lynn vanished. Now in her 50s, Joanne had been living a quiet life until a podcast about Lynn's disappearance went global.
Joanne, Ashley from A Current Affair. Can I ask you a few questions about Chris Dawson?
Joanne Curtis is the woman at the centre of a mystery that's gripped the world. Did former footy star Chris Dawson murder his wife Lynn?
Joanne, would you answer any of my questions?
And she genuinely believed he killed Lynn. There's no doubt about it.
Michelle Walsh is Joanne's friend. The two went to Cromer High on Sydney's northern beaches, where Michelle witnessed Joanne being seduced by Chris Dawson, a married teacher twice her age.
I was in the office with Joe sitting on Chris's lap. There was no secret that, that Mr. Dawson didn't feel that he needed to hide it from me.
So you knew they were in some kind of a relationship?
Oh, we all knew they were in a relationship. Like, we knew that she was Chris's girlfriend.
The former league star was married to Lynn and had 2 young daughters when he became a PE teacher at Cromer High and set his sights on Joanne Curtis.
Can you understand why people would like to hear your side?
It's a shame that he was moved on, though, and not actually held accountable for his behaviour with Joanne at school.
Joanne tells police she's been in a relationship with Chris Dawson for a year when suddenly his wife disappears in 1982. Chris Dawson has always denied anything to do with it, even though 2 coroners found he killed his wife.
That situation ended tragically and has continued to be tragic for 36 years for a family. And that all happened from that situation. No control within a school, no duty of care.
Well, can we ask you any questions about what happened to your wife, Lynn? This is Chris Dawson today. When we caught up with him last month, the 70-year-old was with his twin brother, Paul. Well, obviously, the police believe you know more than you're saying, Chris. Why would they be saying that?
They don't. I won't make comment. I'm not going to make a comment.
Do you know anything about Lynn Dawson's disappearance?
When our producer, Ashley Scully, caught up with Joanne, the now 54-year-old was reluctant to talk.
Surely you've got something you need to say and get off your chest. Anything at all?
Joanne worked as the Dawsons' babysitter, and 2 days after Lynn vanished, Chris Dawson moved his schoolgirl lover into their home.
I trusted him, and I would have gone anywhere with him.
Michelle admits she too had a crush on Chris Dawson.
He'd get us out of class so we could look after his girls. I would sometimes babysit Sharon and Chanel at school, and we were introduced to Paul once as well, and all of those things made me, I can talk for myself, feel very special.
And looking back on it now, do you think that Chris Dawson was grooming you?
Yeah, I feel that I had definitely been put in a position when I look at how I felt about him and how comfortable I was in his company.
There was a role model side to Chris Dawson. There was obviously an evil side.
Phil Webster attended Cromer High at the same time. At first, Chris Dawson was Phil's hero, but things quickly changed.
But there was this other side of him that was quite creepy, which was he was always talking to young girls at school, one in particular.
Do you know anything that happened to Lynn? Anything about what happened to her?
Joanne Curtis went on to marry Chris Dawson at the family home, which he then sold, and the two moved to Queensland, where they had a child. But 10 years later, she left him and moved back to Sydney, where Joanne caught up with Michelle Walsh. What did she tell you had gone wrong with her relationship with Chris Dawson?
She was scared. She was scared for herself and her daughter, and she was going to the police to inform them that, she believed that he killed Lynn.
Can you tell me what his personality was like?
Narcissistic.
This is a police interview recorded with Joanne Curtis in 1998. Until recently, it's never been heard before.
Did you find it odd that as soon as his wife went missing, you went into the family home?
He wanted that all along. All I know was she'd gone, He said, right from the word go, she wasn't coming back. Lynn's gone, she's not coming back. That's just what he said. And so I believed him.
The way she spoke, she was really damaged. Really damaged. She'd been through a lot.
Joanne also told police she'd been with Dawson when he attempted to hire a hitman to murder his wife.
But I do remember at one time going up with him to a pub somewhere. I just remember sitting in the car. He came back and I said, oh, what was that about? I said I was going to get a hitman to kill Lynn. But then I changed my mind because innocent people would be hurt.
I've said all I need to say, and the truth is never printed, never shut up.
Well, what is the truth, Chris?
Oh, I'm not going to discuss this with you now.
Well, why not?
What else?
When we confronted Chris Dawson and his twin Paul, the two became agitated.
You just pushed me. You just pushed me.
Guys, look, it's okay. All we're doing is trying to ask you some questions. Chris, give you the chance to say something.
Why did you push me? I've been given a chance. I've said all I need to say.
Do you know if Lynn Dawson was murdered?
Joanne Curtis was star witness at a coroner's inquest into Lynn Dawson's disappearance in 2003. And even though the coroner found Chris Dawson killed his wife, the Director of Public Prosecutions in New South Wales says there's not enough evidence to charge him.
I just think he's a narcissist and he was a control freak. It's pretty easy to control a 16-year-old girl, I would have thought, when you're that age and you've got that much power, and he's got money.
And it seems Chris Dawson isn't the only one who was taking advantage of one of his students while he was teaching here at Cromer High during the 1980s. Former students say there was a group of at least 6 male teachers who were having sex with teenage girls. In fact, one ex-student said it was as if those teachers looked on it as a fringe benefit of the job.
A lot of the teachers said to me, once they're legal, mate, they're fair game.
I guess some people would say, well, this was the 80s, it was a different time, but does that cut it with you?
I don't buy that. I don't buy that at all, because there was 95% of the teachers at that school were doing the right thing.
I don't think there's ever an excuse for it. I think whether it's the 80s, the 70s, 80s, I think as an adult, you know when something's wrong.
We do know what happened to one of the teachers who was abusing students here at Cromer High during the 1980s. Peter Wayne Scott, who was an art teacher here, is now serving 7 years jail after being found guilty of the sexual abuse of 5 boys aged between 11 and 16. The boys claimed in court that Scott would give them marijuana and when they were stoned, take advantage of them, sometimes in storerooms and classrooms here at the school after hours.
I had no idea of his dark side when I was a student there.
It's appalling. It is really a very sad situation to look back on.
And Michelle, how would you describe Chris Dawson now?
How can you describe somebody who's ruined that many lives and walks around as cocky as he does?
You really do have to feel sorry for Joanne Curtis as well, of course, as for Lynn's family. Police are now investigating allegations some teachers were abusing students at Cromer High in the 80s. You can read a statement from the New South Wales Education Minister on our homepage. Now, a mother's plea to her